Hello. Today's Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. And I am Jason Shapiro with Crowded Market Report. So, yesterday we heard this story that there was the CPI was leaked and there was a special group of people that they leak it to and all this stuff. And that's why bonds were going up and stocks were going up, because they knew that the number was going to be weak and all that stuff. And I think that today the number came out stronger. So we can put that whole conspiracy theory thing to bed, hopefully. It's bullshit, all right? So CPI came out stronger today, and markets did basically exactly what they should have done, right? Stock market went down, bond market got crushed, and the dollar was very strong. Exactly what should happen. And I have to say that here's the Dow, right? This was the number. If you sold after the number, you basically got nowhere, right? S&P, if you sold after the number, you got nowhere. NASDAQ, if you sold after the number, you got nowhere, right? Shorting is very difficult. That's what I'm trying to say here, right? If you didn't come in short before the number, and look, right before the number, there was a spike. It would have scared the crap out of you, right? But you didn't make money shorting. Shorting is very difficult to do. It is my message there, right? I think it's also important to take a look at these stock charts, the stock index charts. I'm sorry. This day right here, which was the 20th of March, was what I was saying then was the big change in everything day. Okay. That was a Fed day. And that's when everybody, that was it. They threw out their bearishness. They threw out the recession thing. And that was sort of the boom day. And we are now below that. Okay. In the Dow, in the S&P, in the NASDAQ, and clearly in the Russell. So everybody who bought finally on that day, which I had mentioned on that day, is now losing money. All right. And I think that's kind of an important thing to think about, right? Because that was really where the chase was on. And that was really where I started to make the comments that people have given up on recession and things have changed now, right? And I keep hearing, despite what we saw today with the CPI, I keep hearing the narrative. There was a guy on TV today making the argument for why there's going to be 3 rate cuts this year. I think these people are out of their freaking mind. I think they've gone absolutely crazy. And quite frankly, it's behavioral biases at work. What's the behavioral bias? They all started chasing, right? They were all bearish last year because of the recession. It ripped into the end of the year. This year started running away from, they all got in their investment committee and said, we got to put this money to work because our clients are freaking out at us, right? For being in too much cash. And where did they put their money to work? And I know I've talked about this a lot. They put their money to work in the laggards, all right? Which was the Russell, right? Well, guess what? The Russell's now down on the year. And I mentioned this, there are rules to trading, and I talk about this a lot in my newsletter. And one of those rules is you don't buy laggards. And while it can work for a little bit as everybody else does it with you, when things go the other way, those are the things that are going to crush you. And that's exactly what's happened with this Russell thing. They've chased the Russell. It worked for a little while. They were all happy. And now it's down on the year. Everybody who bought Russell this year is now out of the money. You don't chase laggards. And this narrative, now you hear these people making the arguments, oh, rate cuts are still coming. What world are you living in? All right. I mean, if the numbers start to change, then maybe, but what evidence is that the numbers are going to change? From what I understand, crude oil is the single most important thing when it comes to good inflation. Well, crude oil is basically on year highs, right? This is the end of the year, right? Right here, right? I'm sorry, right here is December, the end of December, all right? Crude oil's gone up all year. Where is CPI coming down? I don't get it. I just don't get where you're coming up with that. Could it come down? Sure, if this stuff all starts to come down. But as of right now, today, where are you coming up with this? These people are out of their minds. And it's because they built this narrative. They bought Russell. Okay, well, what's going to make Russell go up? Well, it lowers your interest rates. So we got to build this narrative that interest rates are going to go down because we're buying Russell. And now they don't give up on the narrative because they can't, right? Well, because then they have to admit they're wrong. These are all behavioral biases that they're all guilty of, right? So that's what I'm noticing there. So Metals today actually finally went down, not by very much. Silver closed down a little bit. Gold goes down a little bit. Nothing out of the ordinary, I wouldn't say. There was really nothing out of what would be expected given that number today. Except it was very difficult to make money after the number doing it. You could have shorted bonds after the number, but other than that, you really didn't make any money shorting stocks or anything. So, let's see. I still think that rates have to continue to adjust higher. And until they do, this is the world we're going to be living in, right? So that's where we're at. Tomorrow, more fun. We get PPI. And we'll see how everybody does there. All right. So I hope everyone had a good day. Always happy to hear questions and comments. Please like the video if you don't mind. Join us on Substack if you could. Check us out on Crowded Market Report. All right. Thanks and have a good night.